I love seeing more and more people making the switch to raw feeding. It's fresh, unprocessed, and so much closer to what our dogs were designed to eat. But I also notice the same mistakes popping up again and again. Some of them are small slip-ups, but others can have a serious impact on your dog's health. So in this video, I'm going to break down the most common raw feeding mistakes and how you can avoid them. And I can almost guarantee, whether you're brand new to raw or have been doing it for years, you'll hear at least one mistake you didn't know about, or maybe even still repeating yourself. Number one, not rotating proteins. A lot of people, especially those switching to raw because of their dog's allergies, start with one protein like lamb or venison and just stick to it because their dog seems to like it or the itching improves. The problem is, no single protein contains everything your dog needs. Chicken, for example, is low in zinc and some essential fatty acids, while beef is rich in iron but lower in certain vitamins. By rotating proteins such as chicken, beef, turkey, lamb, duck, fish, or goose, you give your dog a much wider nutrient spectrum. You can even go a step further and rotate between different brands since they often use different cuts. Here's another important point. In the wild, dogs wouldn't just eat muscle meat. They would consume organs, blood, fat, skin, and connective tissues as well. In our kitchens, we usually don't feed every single body part. Yes, bones and common organs like liver or kidneys are used, but other vital organs such as testicle, pancreas, or brain are much harder to source, and many dogs never get to eat them at all. And then there is the case of blood. True blood provides additional nutrients, especially iron and trace minerals, but it's missing from the meat you buy in stores. The red liquid you see in packaged meat isn't actually blood. It's mostly water mixed with myoglobin, a protein that carries oxygen in muscles. Because almost all the blood is drained during processing, dogs don't get the nutrients they would normally find in a whole prey animal. That's why rotating proteins is so important. Different meats bring different nutrients to the table, and the more variety you provide, the closer you get to replicating a natural diet. Think of it this way. If you only ate chicken breast every day, you'd be missing out on a lot. Dogs are the same. Variety isn't just fun for them, it's necessary for balanced nutrition. Number two, not feeding balanced meals. Another common mistake is thinking that if a meal has meat, bone, one or two organs, and maybe some veg, it's automatically balanced. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. Dogs need specific ratios of protein, fat, vitamins, and minerals, and those can't be guessed, especially during the growth stage. For example, calcium and phosphorus have to be in balance for proper bone health. Too much or too little calcium can cause serious problems, especially in growing puppies. Other common deficiencies in raw diets include iodine, zinc, choline, and manganese. Iodine is mainly found in seaweed and plays a vital role in thyroid health. Without it, dogs can develop metabolic issues, weight gain, or lethargy. Zinc is essential for skin, coat, and immune function. While red meat does contain zinc, it is often not enough in the amounts typically fed, and deficiencies can show up as a poor coat quality, hair loss, or slow wound healing. Choline is less talked about, but is just as important because it supports liver function, nerve signaling, and helps prevent fat buildup in the liver. Egg yolks are one of the richest sources, but if you're not rotating eggs or other sources, it's easy to miss. Manganese is another mineral often overlooked in raw diet. It plays a key role in joint health, bone development, and enzyme function, but it's found mostly in foods like mussels, nuts, seeds, and certain leafy greens, so ingredients that don't always make it into a typical raw bowl. Balanced raw feeding doesn't mean every single bowl has to be perfectly balanced, but your dog's diet over time should meet nutritional standards. Using dog food formulators or consulting a canine nutritionist could help ensure you're not just feeding random ingredients, but actually covering all nutritional needs. Number 3, oversupplementing. And here comes another mistake. Once people learn about nutrients, they often start throwing in every supplement they can find. Fish oils, kelp powders, herbs, multivitamins, you name it, just to be safe. But here's the thing, more is not always better. In fact, oversupplementing can be harmful. Too much iodine from kelp can affect thyroid health. Too much vitamin D or calcium can damage organs and bones. So remember, supplements should only be used to fill actual nutritional gaps in the diet, not just as an insurance. Because properly planned raw diet already covers a lot. So before reaching for the supplement shelf, make sure you actually need it. Number 4, not balancing the omega-6 to omega-3 ratios. Here's a mistake that even experienced feeders often miss. Modern meats, especially from grain-fed animals like chicken, are naturally high in omega-6 fatty acids. And while omega-6 is important, too much of it, without enough omega-3s to counterbalance, creates inflammation in the body. That can contribute to itchy skin, joint problems, or even chronic disease over time. Balancing the ratio is as simple as adding omega-3 rich foods like oily fish, so sardines, mackerel, salmon, or a high-quality fish oil. This helps reduce inflammation, supports brain health, and keeps the skin and coat healthy. You can also use different plant-based sources like oils and seeds to adjust the balance depending on the meat you're feeding. So, for example, if your dog is eating a chicken-heavy diet, which is particularly high in omega-6, you can offset that with salmon or flaxseed oil or add fresh salmon to the meal. Beef can be balanced with sardines, salmon or hemp seed oil to bring the ratio closer to what dogs would naturally get from wild prey. These aren't just add-ons, they are targeted ways of correcting the fatty acid profile of modern farm meats, which don't resemble the nutrient makeup of wild game. By choosing the right oil or seed to match the protein source, you are essentially fine-tuning your dog's diet to reduce excess inflammation and support long-term health. It's one of the simplest but most overlooked ways to make raw feeding more complete and biologically appropriate. Strictly following the body percent. You've probably heard the rule: feed your dog between 2 and 4% of their body weight per day. And while this is a decent starting point, it's just that, a starting point. Every dog is different. Age, activity level, metabolism, and even the season can change how much food they need. If you follow percentages blindly, you risk underfeeding an active young dog or overfeeding a couch potato. I learned this the hard way with Benji. After he was neutered, his metabolism slowed down and he started gaining weight. Even though I had already reduced his meals by 20%, we were down to 2% of his ideal weight and he was still putting on weight. I was panicking. When I asked in raw feeding forums, everyone said I shouldn't cut his meals any further or he would miss out on essential nutrients. I felt stuck, so I dove into the research. And what I found completely changed how I look at feeding now. Imagine 2 dogs, both weighing 20 kilos. One is super active, the other barely moves. They both need the same amount of nutrients, but the active dog can eat more because he burns off the excess, while the couch potato needs the same nutrients but packed into fewer calories. And this is where things get tricky, because calorie content changes a lot between meats. Take these two 80-10-10 minces as an example. Venison and rabbit come at about 109 calories per 100 grams, while duck is around 225 calories per 100 grams. more than twice as much. If you're only going by body weight percentage, it's incredibly easy to overfeed or underfeed without realizing it. And what I said before about different meats having different nutrient profiles, that ties to this too. So the lesson is this: don't just feed by percentage. Pay attention to calories, pay attention to your dog's body condition, and make sure every ingredient in the bowl brings something to the table, especially for those couch potatoes. Raw feeding is amazing, but only if done correctly. Avoiding these mistakes will help keep your dog healthier, happier, and thriving for years to come. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more dog nutrition tips. And let me know in the comments if you've made any of these mistakes yourself.